and welcome to Inspirations Season 6, Episode 3. That's my podcast about knitting and yarn dyeing. I'm Christelle and I'm an indie dyer. I live in France and I'm very happy to be back with you for another episode. So if you're watching the podcast for the first time, I'm uploading a podcast on YouTube every Monday afternoon at 5 p.m. Paris time. There's also a newsletter I'm sending out at the same time just to let you know what's new in the shop, because the shop is also updated once a week on Monday afternoons. So welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time with me. It means a lot. And today I just wanted to tell you that in the shop there's going to be just some markers, some things that I put in the shop when I first opened it. And then because I wanted to, focus on yarn, I didn't, although I had the raw material to make more, I didn't, and I thought, well, why not? So there will be a lot of breeches in the shop today. Some, don't mind my dirty finger. One of the gloves had a hole, so it's actually way better than it used to be. My whole finger was blue. Was indigo blue. So you will have a little selection of different things in the shop today that I'm showing you very quickly before we move on to the projects, because I really can't wait to tell you all about my project this week and another adventure that I have. So that kind of things. Okay, so everything will be in the shop when you watch the podcast. Can I show you another? This one is more like your crafty themed one with a knit and a sewing machine, little pot with crayons, scissors, and a lovely heart. That's it for the shop update. No new yarn because I'm very busy dyeing for the upcoming fiber festivals. So that's Exceptionnel beginning of February, followed immediately by Love Yarn Madrid. So lots of work to be done in the dye parts in the studio. So yeah. And the shop update at the beginning of the month was absolutely crazy good. So thank you again so much, guys, for that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I read a bit earlier this week that last Monday was actually the most depressing day of the whole year. And although I don't pay much attention, I don't much care for such information, I tend to, you go on my own path and not be influenced by that. I must say that the past week's been especially awful. I don't know about you guys, but to me January is like the Monday of the year, and I mean really that week I didn't want to do, I didn't feel like doing anything. I really felt like it was a struggle all week to do even the most simple things done, and it's been a constant struggle not to crawl into a tiny space and hibernate. It's a difficult word for me. Hibernate. Yeah, I felt like a bear. Wanted to crawl somewhere, cozy, dark and warm, and just sleep it off. Yeah. So I didn't feel like doing anything. And actually, I just filmed the French version, and during all of the French version, I was like, pas envie. Pas envie. Actually, that's the title of the episode, so that you know that pas envie means I don't feel like it. I don't want to do this. I'm not feeling it. Okay? So that's kind of the theme for this week. I'm not feeling like doing the things, but we have to eat. We have to work. So I actually did the work, but it's been very difficult to feel motivated for anything else. So I managed still to finish 2 things this week. well, not completely finished objects, but half finished objects. I finished those 2 socks. So this one was like Halloween themed sock. I'm quite light on that, I must admit. And this was the October pattern and yarn from the shop. That season, the colorway Season of the Witch, and the pattern is Pembroke socks. And this is done. There is only 1 of them each. Okay, and I don't know when I will come around knitting the 7 other single socks from last year Almanac. I just don't feel like it. Okay, pas envie. I blocked one of my very rare pair of 2022. They are beautiful, pristine. I just have to take some pictures and then they will be officially okay to be worn. So that's something good. That's something to, you know, celebrate and be happy about. Okay. And also what I did, because I really felt like I needed to do things not work related and just without any pressure or stake or anything, I continued doing a bit of cross stitching on this. That's the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Autumn Sampler. That's one of the very first pattern. I love them so much. You must know that if you've been following me for quite some time now, you know that I love those girls. And I'm, you know, I've decided not to switch projects like I usually do. I'm going to stick with this one, and I'd like to work on the first line of 5 boxes. Yeah, so I've made progress. I was actually I stopped at this one, so I made this one, I completed this one, I made this one, and I'm actually working on this one, and I still need to complete this one. And then I will be able to work inside the little details. So it's very cute because it's pumpkins, it's an apple basket, a squirrel, a lovely girl at a pumpkin patch picking up pumpkins, and autumn leaves. So yeah, pumpkin is like one of the most cheerful word and imagery that I know of, so it's perfect when you need, you know, to feel some comfort. It's really great. I love just saying it, pumpkin. I love it. Okay, in terms of projects, I started the month socks, so that's the colorway cocooning. All caked up here on MCN, and I started the socks. So I know I told you I wanted to knit the pollen socks by Annie Roden. I printed out the pattern and all, and pas envie. Just pas envie. So I decided to, you know, whip up quick, sweet little thing. Just pas envie of writing just a full pattern, but doubling in some very crude. That's my notes, just on the back of something my son wrote. It's like the theme for this month. Exactly, if I had to, you know, illustrate the way I'm feeling, it's like that. I'm doing things, but really like, you know, an odd offhand way. So that's my notes. Actually, that is the one I'm following. It's not even lined up, but it's okay. And so I'm just, you know, improvising. Like, I wanted a bit of texture, but something not too complicated. Like, I think I'm going to name those the cocooning socks. And I might as well have called this colorway and the feeling for the month hibernation, okay? Because that's really what it's about. I really feel like we should all be hibernating. So I'm knitting the two at the same times, because not on the same needle, because I'm way over that. I've done that for years and I don't like that technique at all anymore. But I thought it's the first time that I'm knitting the same 2 socks at the same time on 2 different needles. I'm using the 2 ends of the ball. So far so good, no drama. And this way I might, you know, find a countermeasure against the situation of the sock situation of 2022. So my goal was to knit 3 socks at a time, so on 3 different needles, just the pair for the month, for the ongoing month, and then 1 sock that needed a second side. But pas envie. Okay, pas envie. No, nope, not this month. I told you, it's the name of the episode for a reason. What I did this week also, because I had quite the list of objectives this week. Despite the overwhelming feeling of pas envie, I had actually a quite ambitious list of objectives. I must say I didn't do too bad. I just took like Wednesday off because pas envie was so amounted to such an amount that I couldn't fight, and it was so cold outside. It was raining, like almost snowing, but like melted snow, so really cold. And you know, part of my job in the studio is to work outside. I have to work outside to rinse the yarn, and it was too much. On Wednesday, the very idea of being outside under this melted snow with my hands in the frigid water, it was the epitome of pas envie. Okay, so this is cocooning on MCN, so crocheted and knitted, and I even did Home Sweet Home, that the contrasting color for this month, again crocheted and knitted. Can you believe what the darkest streaks you see here are green? Those are green, guys. This is green that I put in the purple, and I'm just in awe about how it turned out. I mean, it's crazy beautiful. It doesn't always work, okay? I tried to do that with a beautiful emerald green, and I thought, let's be adventurous. I put a way too generous part of bright red. It did not go well, okay? I think I'm going to call this colorway Zombie Apocalypse, actually, because it's that bad, okay? It might become, you know, kind of a thing you want to, like a statement. Yeah, if you want to knit something apocalypse, zombie apocalypse themed, would be a good colorway to do that, okay? I will show that to you. Actually, I think I called it Maléfique, because that's what it felt like, was evil, Maléfique. But zombie apocalypse might be a better name. I'll show it to you guys next week, okay? I have to write that down to remember, okay? It's definitely be called zombie apocalypse. Okay, so that's what I did. And then, last but not least, definitely not least, I've been working on a hat version of my Brioche Queen Call. So the Brioche Queen Call, I'm going to put a picture here, is a very sweet pattern, very simple pattern, beginner friendly to learn brioche. There is even a digital workshop, a digital workshop with 9 different parts to learn how to knit brioche and the different brioche in the round, with the different increases, decreases, right slanted, left slanted decreases. Well, it's really funny because I did that. It was one of my very first brioche projects, and it was a way also for me to learn how to knit brioche. So it's like we learned, I learned, and then you learned with me. And so I've been thinking about adding a coordinated hat to this pattern for quite some time. And this is my 3rd attempt at doing so. The first one was ridiculously small. The second one, I didn't dig the colors, so set it aside, but it laid the good basis for the design actually. So this is the third, and I think the good one, the one I'm going to stick with. It's knitted out of the this month colorway of the Sultan's Almanac. So I'm using for the dark color, but actually yeah, it's dark color because it's the one in the background, but it's actually the lighter of the one of the two. It's quite confusing. I'm using Surrey, so on cocooning, and slub fingering. Surrey is a dream to work with, really. It's so soft, and paired with the slub, it makes a very, very fun and soft and so squishy texture. I love it. And the contrasting color is Home Sweet Home on MCN, and that's your light color, although it's darker, but it's the light color. That means that the colors that is doing the patterning. Like if I'm flipping that inside out, you see that it's really lovely too, but the pattern is not so precise, but it could totally be worn inside out actually. Okay, so that was not something that I felt like knitting very much. It was more like a work-related knit, something for which I had a very precise objective. I had to knit 12 rows a day to be in time for what I had in mind. So I felt like I had to work on this all week. And because the yarn makes it very enjoyable, because it's something that I've already knitted 3 times, the third time, well, yeah, it's not the kind of projects it was not the kind of project I was really, you know, just out of the sheer will of knitting. It was there was constraints to it too. I mean, that's my work, that's logical, I have to do that sometimes. And I stick to it. I was very serious about it. I wanted things done during the week. So I stick with the planning. I made good progress and I finished it yesterday. Can you see the problem here? Yeah, it was finished yesterday, okay? The thing is, I finished the crown, but I've just, you know, I've just started the decreases here. So yesterday I finished the crown. I was very happy. I webbed in my ends and I put a pom-pom on it. A gorgeous pom-pom that I bought in Brussels at Sip and Knit. Lovely, lovely pom-pom. It was beautiful. But while I, you know, was doing the finishing, I remarked that I noticed that I had dropped a stitch at the very last stage when you just weave in your end in a yarn needle and you have to pull it through the remaining stitches. I don't know how I messed that step up, but I totally missed it, guys. And I didn't know I messed up until it was too late, because I had already woven in my ends. Actually, the most problematic end was woven in. That's this one, guys, because this is kind of nubbly. And once you've woven in your ends, it's very difficult to weave in and it's impossible to take out. So there was one stitch that did not get caught in that last step. I was like, it's not a problem. I still have that end to weave in. I'm just going to, you know, it's not going to be, nobody will see it. It will be under the big pom-pom. It's going to be okay. So I very messily picked up the drop stitch and started weaving my yarn in. The pom-pom was already on top, guys, okay? And then once everything was done and I was ready to wear it, I noticed that there was an additional 2 stitches dropped, and it was slowly unraveling. And I was like, no. Okay, it was already done like 4 brioche rows, so I told myself there's no way I'm going to be able to, you know, make it invisible this time. So I have to undo that part and get back to the needles and make sure I can, you know, fix because fixing mistakes in brioche is not easy. So I tried to unweave my ends. I had trouble removing the pom-pom actually. So I tried unweaving my ends. No luck. I had to cut through it, guys. I had to cut at the summit of the hat, and I had to cut it just to be able just to unravel. And I actually had to unravel quite a bit because I mean, to go past the part that I had cut, to make sure that I was, you know, back on a entire length of yarn and not a bit that's going to, you know, unravel later. And I ended up unraveling like I think everything I had made on that day. So I just wanted to bury it in the garden. Honestly, I just wanted it out of my life. So I really enjoy, although I really enjoy the yarn, I enjoy the pattern, I enjoy everything about this, I feel like throwing out of the window. I have pas envie to work on that right now. So I'm kind of pissed off about it, but it's not his fault, okay? It's not your fault, little baby. It's not your fault. It's my fault, okay? But I'm just not in a good place right now, and I'm not going to work on that until I feel better. Hopefully in the next couple of days, because I still have that objective to meet. But yeah. How was your week? Tell me in the comments. Is it a thing? Is it like everybody's going through a shitty time in January, especially in that week, or is it just me? You tell me, okay? Also, I really much feel like I have envie to work on a big piece. I told you that, guys, already last week, I think. I browsed. I spent a lot of time this morning browsing patterns on Ravelry. Nothing struck my fancy, but I already have this beautiful love knot on the needles. So minimal effort. I can just work on a big piece straight away because I already have 2 love knots that I need for myself, but they don't fit me anymore. So I need one my size. And I thought, why not, you know, just pick this up. And the name of the colorway is actually Lueur, which is light, and it's the light at the end of the tunnel, maybe. It was not intended. Pen was not intended in the French version, but it is actually intended in the English one. So yeah, I think I'm going to work on that this week. I hope you're doing well, guys. I hope you had a better week than I had. I hope you have a lovely week to come. And I'll see you guys next Monday, okay? Bye.